Most people will spend 40 years working really hard and still feel like they have never really lived. Not because they were lazy, because every single evening they made the small, same choice. To wind down instead of to wind up. And the worst part, nobody warned them that this was happening to them. It just crept in quietly, one gray evening at a time. This video is about breaking that pattern, and I'm going to show you exactly how. You've probably heard of the Eisenhower matrix. Urgent versus important. It's a really solid framework. Most productivity people swear by it. But it has a blind spot that nobody talks about. It tells you what to do first. It doesn't tell you what it costs to keep ignoring everything else. And that gap, that silent, invisible gap, is where most people's lives slowly shrink in without even noticing it. Let me show you what I mean. When doctors work on on-call shifts, they don't just organize tasks by urgency. They run a 3-part filter on every job. 1, how serious is this? 2, how long will it take? 3, what happens if I don't do it at all? That third question is the one that most productivity advice usually skips. Here's what it looks like in practice. You arrive on a shift with like 30 jobs you have to do. One of them is 2 minutes, low urgency, but it's on the same ward as something that is very critical. Do you come back for it later? No. You knock it out right now because the cost of walking back is higher than the 2 minutes it takes to just finish it on the spot. You're not just triaging by importance, you're triaging by the full picture. Time, location, and consequence. Not because you're a superhuman, but because you have a system. Now apply the same thinking to your life after work. Here's what actually happens to high performers at the end of their day. They come home drained. Their job demanded everything. Focus, responsibility, decisions with real stakes. And then they come home and suddenly exercising, meeting a friend, cooking, it all feels optional. It feels like would be nice rather than must do. And I understand why. The feedback loop at work is immediate. You do your job well or you don't, and you will find out really fast. But skip the gym? Nothing happens today. Drift away from your friends? Nothing happens this week. Drop the hobby, stop learning, stop growing outside of work? You won't feel it for months. Until one day you do. Burnout, disconnection, a life that feels smaller and grayer than it used to be. And here's what makes this so dangerous. Research is clear that people who stay much more active in areas outside of their work actually perform better at their jobs. Not worse, better. You are not sacrificing your career by protecting your personal life. In reality, you're fueling it. Here's the reframe that changes everything. Most people treat their job like their primary identity. Doctor, engineer, whatever your title is. And everything else, the health, the responsibilities, the friends, they get downgraded to secondary priority. But ask yourself this, what about the identity, who you are as a person? Is that not at least as important as the work you do? Or is it actually even more important? The people who seem to do the most are rarely the ones who have more hours. They're the ones who understand that each part of their life feeds the others. So what will you do differently starting today? First, own your commute. The drive home, the walk, the train ride, that is not dead time. Right now, most people use it to decompress into a blank mobile phone screen. But what if you use even part of it to think about your evening, about what you want to achieve, about what you want to plan? What are you doing when you get through the door? What actually matters tonight? You arrive ready instead of reactive. Second, stack your time. You are washing dishes. You don't have to only be washing dishes. Listen to something that moves you forward. Have a real phone call with a friend or a family member. Think through a problem that you have been avoiding. The 20 minutes you spent on low focus, necessary tasks can carry a second layer. Not forced, not always, but often, yes. Third, set a minimum viable move. Not a transformation. One small step past your current default. Get home and before you do what you usually do, pause for 60 seconds. Ask yourself, is this really what I want to do the next hour, or is this just the easiest thing? That pause is where the change lives. The people who struggle most with this most of the times don't have a time problem. They have a prioritization problem. And underneath that, a belief problem. They believe the person they are at work is the only one that counts. Everything else can wait. But here's what 40 years of it can wait can look like. You know already. You have seen it. The energy you put into your full life, the training, the friendships, the curiosity, the things that make you feel like yourself. That's not a distraction from your best work. That's the foundation of it. You have very little to lose by trying this, and a much more alive, colorful, and energized version of your life to gain. So try one thing differently tonight. Just one, and see what happens. If this hits something for you, please subscribe to this channel, because this is a conversation I'm going to keep having from different perspectives and angles until it hopefully lands. Thank you so much.